Hi, welcome to Stamping with Kay. Today we're going to do a beautiful card using the Mixed Bunch stamp set we love by Stampin' Up. The stamp set, 3 large stamps and then several small ones that quench. And this card that I want to create today, inspired by a card done by Kirsten Gill, which was in my March Stamping Success. This is a magazine that you get when you're a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Let's get started. The first thing I did was I took a piece of cardstock and I cut it to 8.5 by 5, and then a piece of the green design paper from the Twittered Pated Designer Series paper. Most of the Designer Series papers come with both sides decorated, and I wanted to use the green plaid, and then also a piece of the Blushing Bride print. We're going to be using the edgelet dies adorning accents, and we're going to be using that with our Big Shot machine. Is very neat about this die. It has a very small blade on it. Let me see if I can zero in for you. That blade. This is right here, and this is going to be facing down, and it will be cutting your paper. And we're going to use it on the green sheet and also on our cardstock. So the way I've been layering it up is you have your cutting plate. Mine is a well-used cutting plate. You're going to take your cardstock, and if you remember that this edgelet die is the exact same width as your cutting plate, so you want to be careful not to have any of it extending over the edge, because it will ruin your die, as it happened to a friend of mine. I'm going to place the die with the edge, the sharp blade facing down, right where I want it to cut my paper, and try to center my paper on there. And then one of the best tricks that I have found with keeping these dies down is using a sticky note and just placing the sticky note over your paper like that to hold your die down. Then I'm going to stack my cutting plate on top of this. My sandwich, I am taking my Big Shot platform, and I'm not flipping open any of the tabs. Now every Big Shot has a little different tension, so you figure out what works for you. This works really good with my Big Shot machine. So I'm going to go over here and run it through my Big Shot. And there, it cut my cardstock just perfectly. Next, we're going to use with the Pear Pizzazz paper. These are called the Adorning Accent Textured Impression Embossing Folders. They were in the mini catalog, and they just do a wonderful job. You can use them on envelopes and cardstock, and I'm just really impressed with them. I'm going to line it up to, I like a little larger edge. I think it shows up good. And again, I'm going to sandwich it on my cutting plate. And then this time I'll be opening my platform up to tab 1 on the Big Shot. And if you need some help with the Big Shot, be sure and just watch my video on how to use a Big Shot. But this is on tab 1. And then I'm going to take this over to my Big Shot and roll it through. And I come back with a beautifully embossed Pear Pizzazz with the edge and raised embossed design. So next we're going down and I'm going to take the green pattern paper and use my edgelet die, and I'll be cutting the same pattern right here using my edgelet die. Now that my green pattern paper is cut, it's all just putting it together. I'm going to take my snail and open it up, and then place the pattern paper, and it'll line right up. Next, I've got the Blushing Bride paper. Again, I'm going to just use a little snail and place that, lining it up with a top fold. And then it's all about some stamping. I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I decided I was going to use this image out of the stamp set. And I'm using the Blushing Bride ink set, which I love the way Stampin' Up! Has everything that matches. The paper matches, the stamps. And then lift off. Wonderful image. And then the other stamp I'm using out of this set is this round one, which coordinates with a 3/4 inch circle punch. It just makes the stamps with Stampin' Up! Just constantly amaze me what a beautiful impression they will make. Now that I've got my image stamped, I'm going to use the Blossom Punch by Stampin' Up! That will line up just perfectly with these images. And they are so easy to use. Just line it up and punch. Got a perfect image. Do the same thing with the circle. And then I've got my circle and my flower ready to adhere. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to use the pleated ribbon by Stampin' Up! This comes in many of the in colors, but this is the Blushing Bride. And I just thought it made such a pretty addition to this card. What I'm going to do is cut it using my good ribbon scissors. And what I have found, that my flower is going to go here. So the edges will fray somewhat. So I cut it right there at where one of the pleats is. And then I'm going to take it, and I know my flower is going to go here. So I'm going to make another cut right here on this pleat. So I'm going to be adhering this part of the ribbon, and you see how this is fraying somewhat on this end. If you cut it at the pleat, it won't fray. So I'm going to be taking this and we'll match it up. Cut a little bit off here, and then this will be glued down. So you just don't have near the frame. It's going in opposite direction. I see that, I mean, to me it just does not take away from the card. So I'm going to adhere that. Now when I adhere my ribbon, I like to use the red tape. It's called the sticky strip. Stampin' Up! Sells it up, and for me, my cards get handled a lot, and I just don't think with something as heavy as ribbon, the pleated ribbon, that the snail is going to hold it down as much. So I'm going to just take a piece of the sticky strip and just put that down, and then cut that off with not my ribbon scissors. And what I do with the sticky strip is I take my bone folder and just press it down good. And I'm going to lift off the red part. And then take my ribbon and lay that down. And then place like that. Now my flower, I'm going to use the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals and place on the back of that. I love the dimensionals. I tend to use them a lot. They're easy, and they just just add that little bit of pop to your card. Place that right there. And then I'm going to put a dimensional on this round piece. And place that right there in the middle. And now the only thing left is to add the pearls. Stampin' Up! Has, they have rhinestones and pearls. Now they've also got a set of the larger pearls. And I know something I want to do before I even do the pearls. There is a bird blossom punch, and it's got this beautiful little vine. And I think I want to add 2 things of the vine. So I'm going to take just a strip I have left over of the Pear Pizzazz and place it right here and punch out 2 of the vines. Okay, and I'm going to attach these with some glue dots. I'm going to go get some glue dots and just maybe cut off a little bit and put those in there. Now I've placed a little glue dot on my vine, and I really should have done this before I attached the flower, but it'll be easy to just lift up a petal and slip my vine. Well, I'm thinking it'll be easy. Yeah. Slip my vine right in there. And now, there we go. Other than the pearls, let me find them. What I'm going to be using today, we have some little pearls over here that if you peel them off, they actually peel off in a strip. So my upline Beth taught me to just take my scissors and cut and do like that. And each pearl has a piece of adhesive underneath the pearl. And I just use my scissors to pick up the pearl and then bring it over and use my finger and put it down. It seems to, that way I can be sure and get that adhesive, which is underneath the pearl, and place it down. And I'm going to do all the petals, and then we will have a finished card. Thank you. Now the pearls are all adhered, and you've got a beautiful card that you can use for either a birthday or a welcome springtime card. You can put any sentiment you want inside. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you watching. Just remember, if you can dream it, you can certainly stamp it.